dispel the darkness of confusion. In the Bodhisattva form, he is pure from beginningless time, fully accomplished in the 10 levels and perfect in the body of all knowledge. I supplicate you, Majesty, adorned by the 112 Son of Buddha, to dispel the darkness of my ignorance. Om Wange Shoramo, 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 Om Wange Shoramo. Om Wange Shoramo, Om Wange Shoramo. Om Wange Shoramo, Om Wange Shoramo, Om Wange Shoramo. Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade. Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade, Om Arapatsanade. Om Arapatsanade, you who are the perfect, beautiful body, whose flame of wisdom blesses, and dispel the darkness of worldly ignorance, I posted before you and praise you, Manjushri. At the heart chakra is a sandis on which stands the mom's syllable. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Khenpo.
Good morning.
Morning. Dangge duje jaje reisen tong yin je me do de je bong jong ba ser je lembo la re ji be xia je jar be ja la zo ran de dor jin jan jin de lo na ro dang mar ba me lai ji je gang bo ba Pamo Juba Jarwai Digombe Kajo Lama Nanlai Zorwai De Romain Chije Yenje Bobdane Tizon Sanje Genje Ngowonye Ransen Chige Ngonzon Donzebe Zave Lambe Jalai Zorwai De. Okay, so can you hear correctly or so far okay? Yeah?
Yes, sounds good.
Okay. So let me know if the voice is stopped, something going on. Okay, so now we're going to go to the way of Bodhisattva teaching. Way of Bodhisattva, we have a chapter 10 composed by Shantideva. So it's today we are in the chapter 9, wisdom chapter. Wisdom chapter. Today the section is talking about the 4 mindfulness meditation. So last week we already shared the mindfulness for body meditation. So mind for body meditation. So mindful on the body meditation. We finished that. So there's a last week I shared just talk with you there. It's a mindful body meditation. The follow the Theravada tradition. Mahayana tradition is a little bit different. The Mahayana tradition is more detailed, more subtle level. Theravada tradition mindfulness meditation is more gross level. So Theravada tradition meditation is easy for us because it's more gross level, not that subtle and deeper level. And Mahayana mindful meditation is more harder. It's go to the more subtle. just not, mind is resting with our own body. So we have to recognize that our own body is not exist. So that's the logically, approving bodies not exist. So you realize that, then that means like you have a mindfulness on the body meditation. So today we going to the mindful on the feelings. So mindful feelings meditation. That's correct, right? We left there last time. Stop there, yeah, okay. So this feeling meditation also, we have to think about the feeling means we have a positive happiness feeling, and then we have a negative sadness feeling, suffering feeling, and also neutral, like no positive, no negative, just like no happy, no sad, just neutral feeling. And then that's also followed by body and the mind. So especially the follow the mind is we talk about 6 senses and the 6 object, the 6 consciousness. So then this 6 consciousness have also this exactly, positive feeling, negative feeling, and neutral feeling. So each goes like all together is like going to some objects. 6 times 3 is 18. And so like that, the more details talk about a feeling, this feeling meditation. But main point is we just have to recognize that feeling is exist or not exist. If the feeling is exist means like logically approving exist. Analytically you have to prove the exist. So if feeling is like, analytically exist, then that feeling is called permanent. So then that kind of feeling is you cannot change it, always be there. So some some religions talk about the permanent. So the feeling also permanent. So that's why there's a Shantideva going to, debating or just clarify their doubt. Who accept feeling is permanent. Shantideva here, he's sharing this teaching, he's not talking about we don't have feeling. We have feeling, but our feeling is temporary and impermanent. Actually, analytically, you cannot proving anything. It's go into the emptiness, nothing can find. So that means like our feeling is emptiness. So here going to with this debating with other traditions, scores, they accept the feeling is permanent, exist. So this exist is not talking about relatively exist or not. This talking about exist means absolute truth exist or not. If something absolutely exists, then you cannot get rid of that. So that is means like nature of your mind become. So the feeling is permanently inherently exist, then we cannot get rid of our suffering feeling. So that means like we have to suffering 24 hours all the time. If the feeling is permanently inherently exist. The Shantideva here giving this teaching is like we have to recognize our feeling, whatever we have, that is not exist. It's all temporary, and recognize that is just delusion not exist. It's our delusion create the feeling. So that's the reason, long as you get realize absolute truth, you can free from the feeling. Long as we are not stuck with this emotional feeling, so we can get free from that feeling. That's the main point. Then, if you realize the feeling is no exist, is delusion, the meditator is no longer attached to the positive feeling, no hatred to the negative healing. Then they're not just stuck with the neutral feeling. It's all the free from the feelings. So that means like we are free from attachment and aversion, anger. So that's the reason this, logically and approving feeling is not exist. We realize that we have to meditate, cultivate, meditate. One day we get to, realize, because it's the natural mind is not something in the natural mind, something feeling, something exists in there. So feeling is the main point, is not exist. Then why we have feeling? Because we have a delusion. Same is like when you are in the dream. So you have feeling in the dream. Long as you have that dream, you have feeling. But one day when you wake up, that feeling is not exist. And the person who is deluded and the object and the feeling, subject, object, and action, that three of them no exist. When you wake up. So that means, see, we know, so like dream, when we have a dream, that feeling is when we wake up not exist. So then you don't attach to your dream feeling, not stuck that. So like that, like you get realize the means like so the feeling is temporary and no exist. Then you are no longer attached to our consciousness is an object. So consciousness is free from the attachment. That's the reason he's sharing this, with the debating with others and sharing for us. And not for, last way we talked to Shantideva like to debating. He wanted to have us liberating. The reason is because we are attached to our feelings, then we create a karma. So long as you are stuck with your own feelings, you cannot free from samsara. It's a feeling actually control us. And so this feeling is no exist, then you no longer attached to the feeling. So this meditation is many different kind in the teaching coming all the time. See, when you meditate Mahamudra, also we say whatever arise feeling, recognize, let go, no attach, right? And whatever the feeling comes, the feeling is like no exist, also let go. So that kind of we have like when we do the meditation Mahamudra, we know we do that sometimes, see. And then also the feeling comes, you can watch the feeling, and feeling itself is no exist, your awareness see that. So then that feeling is you seeing the no exist, you no longer attached to that feeling, is empty and into the transform into the like feeling is transformed into the Dharmakaya. So they have a different method. Then when we practice Yedam deity, and whatever fear arise, we visualize Yedam, and especially you focus, visualize Yedam arise devotion, and then that feeling is go away. So that is all different method that we're practicing. But this one is the proving that meditation is correct. So why we do that meditation? Because you see this logically, the feeling is not exist. If this teaching cannot proving that feelings not exist. It cannot proving. Then Mahamudra meditation, Yadam deity meditation practice doesn't work very well. Become useless already. So that's why this teaching is like, see, it's all the Buddhist actually essence, logically, philosophy means essence. If you approving these teachings, then everything works. This rituals works, karma cause and effect is work for us. And then relative to everything work for us. And then of course the practice Yadam deity also work for us. Practice Mahamudra you can get realized. If this here and chapter 9, Shantideva, which he's sharing the wisdom chapter. So if this he don't approve in what he's saying, then our practice meditation or is become incorrect. Not going to be successful anything. So no possible enlightenment. Then see, think about our emotions become permanent, then how you going to get rid of that? Not possible to get rid of emotions. So emotion is only temporary. That's why we can get rid of emotion. Emotions are not our mind's nature. So that's why I say also go to when we talk about the Four Noble Truth, truth of suffering, truth of origination of suffering. Origination of suffering is emotion. So then we have another hand as we can apply the path. Path is antidote to origination of suffering. The wise path is can be antidote to the origination of suffering, because origination of suffering is not our natural mind. That is not permanent. It is temporary. It's delusion. That's why we have a method. Another hand is path. So you apply the path, result is a cessation. So free from suffering, right? Then think about this Four Noble Truths. The origination of suffering, result is a suffering. Path, result is nirvana. So origination and path is contradict. Means like path is contradict to the origination of suffering. Because origination of suffering is the same as the darkness. Path is the same as the light, sun. So one day we can free from the darkness like that, yeah? So like that. And that's why Shantideva here, so his wisdom sharing these teachings like for us, like intellectually, long as we understanding, then you get uncertainty from your mind. No certainty, right? Certainty means 100% sure, yeah? Certainty, yeah. You get certainty from your mind. It's not dropped, everything's emptiness. Long as you realize, like then you intellectually everything's like emptiness. You know any doubt, the certainty arise in your mind. So that is the result of study this Mayaminka teaching. Long as we have that, then you have a very strong devotion arise too. That devotion is called follow the Dharma devotion. Because you understanding Dharma, then arise devotion. So that devotion is called irreversible devotion. Irreversible devotion means stable, powerful. Sometimes like we have a devotion is called, see the person. You see the person and oh yeah, the person is amazing. I love Buddhist. Like see you see the Buddhist teacher, some like then people say, oh yeah, he's great. I love. Oh, I'm going to become Buddhist. So that is not called irreversible devotion. That devotion is called the one-third So it's called like you follow the just person devotion, follow the person devotion, and it is like no stable devotion. So you see the person is become something wrong, then you lost devotion because you know based on the Dharma devotion. You're based on the like person, you know. And they have like three different devotions arise. One is like, see, we irreversible devotion. Dharma devotion is this one, like study you Buddhist teaching, and then devotion arise. That is irreversible devotion, permanent, like very stable devotion. So we need that. Other two is like, oh yeah, Buddhist is non-violence. I love that. You know, I've got to follow Buddhist. Then you see some reasons like, oh, some people, oh, Buddhists like also eat meat and have violence, anger, emotions. So yeah, I don't like Buddhists because the people have all these emotions. I thought people don't have emotions. There always no violence. You lose already devotion. So some people just say, oh, I love this teacher. You know, he is laughing, amazing, he is great. So then follow. But then you see something wrong, you say, oh no, I'm not going to follow. That's all is like core devotion is not stable devotions. And the main point here, you study this chapters, not only chapter 9, just Shantideva hold this text. If long as you really understanding that devotion is like arise, that devotion is stable. It's called the best on the Dharma devotion. Irreversible devotion. So then someone say, oh, Buddhist is no, I don't believe the teaching because no makes sense for me. You have, you know, answer for that person. You that person that person cannot influenced by you. Because you already know so what means Buddhist. So otherwise someone comes like say, oh, I don't like the Buddhist because that does like this kind wrong things. So pondering something, you know, like, okay, oh, I don't like Buddhists because you see in the Burma, oh, this Buddhist is fighting for Muslims, like that kind. You know, someone say it's not great teaching, it's not good. So many like that, they can find informations, and then they say, yeah, you also shape your mind and follow that person's idea view. So that means like you don't have a Dharma based on the education devotion. Long as you study all this way of Bodhisattva, then you don't, that kind of people, you're not going to shape you that because you see, oh, that person's a mistake. No, Buddhist is not like that. Buddhist means like, see, the way of Bodhisattva. Hold this teaching, right? And so you can see the like person's mistake and the Dharma is a separate. So the person, individual mistake, you cannot put into the same is a religion, right? In the teaching. So that's why you have to study and understanding. And note today here, the verses 88, close placement of mindfulness on the feelings. Madhyamaka. So there's some other, see, the philosopher and the scholars that accept impermanent, the accept exist, the feeling is exist. So Shantideva, he said, feeling is no exist. The feeling is no exist. I will just already share with you. Is they're talking about the absolute truth because logically not exist. But that means we're not talking about temporarily we have feeling. So no, if feelings of pain truly existed, see this feeling is like the pain, like we have a suffering, our unpleasant, your feeling is exist, then since they would never end, see, then the suffering never end. Why would they not affect feeling of great joy and happiness? So then we cannot, never ever can get happiness feeling. Because this negative feeling affected to great joy and happiness feeling. Making it is impossible for them to ever arise. Then not possible to happiness feeling arise. the positive feeling, no possible arise. Then one, like say 24 hours, negative feeling. The negative feeling also cannot change. Only whatever you have, like sadness, something feeling, only that never end. The reason because feeling is truly exist. They accept, if you accept like that, conversely, if happiness had true existence, then same like that. If happiness feeling also permanently truly exist, then why do this suffering greatly from grief and sickness not find any joy in delicious food and the like? So if the suffering feeling is permanent, then not possible to also have this, like negative, like kind of suffering. I mean, the joyful feeling is permanent. Then not possible to negative suffering feeling can be arise. But we know that is not true, right? Our feelings all the time change. See, someone has so much strong suffering greatly from grief and sickness. So some has like lose like family and the sickness due to many things. They have like, of course, we know suffering in the samsara, especially in the human realms. Well, we been through that, and we know suffering. Then that suffering is permanent. Then not find any joy in even you eat good foods, and you see the good object, become good companies. You satisfy some objects, give you some good feeling, but even the object is the never ever you get good feeling, right? Because reason is your your suffering is permanent. So why see, okay, this why do this those suffering greatly from grief and the sickness and find the joy, see, delusion food and the like? They should, if happiness had true independent existence, but they clearly did not. See, that means like our happiness also not permanently exist there. If the happiness permanently inherently exists, then we lose, like, see, already like talk about this different kind of suffering, they're not going to affect it. So they're affected for us. That means happiness also not permanently inherently exist. Then suffering also permanently inherently not exist, because when you get suffering and you also then go through that after changed. So that's the reason, but there clearly did not means these feelings clearly do not exist there. Then why we have feeling? Because it's temporary, it's delusion. Not be there permanently inherently exist. So no answer. So answer is that is the and answer also indeed means like their answer. So that's the first that Mayamika give the cautions for them, ask caution for, because if you say your feeling is permanent, then you have that problem. So Mayamika give caution for them. So now they're going to give answer. The answer is indeed pain really exists. There's a pain, suffering is really exist. But when a strong feeling of pleasure occurs, so then we get pleasure feeling arise. The pain is not experienced because it is overridden by the pleasure. Then suffering is you cannot recognize because the pleasure, joy is already overcome to that. And then you don't recognize the suffering. But they said, suffering is still there, but joyful feeling is so strong, then you don't recognize you have suffering. That's like, see, kind of true, you know, like sometimes we temporarily, we have like that kind, but this is talking about absolutely cannot be that way. You know, logically cannot prove in that. Temporarily, yes, sometimes the people has difficulty suffering, but some pleasure things comes, like maybe they get in the party and they get in the drunk, something going on, they're just temporarily, they're gone, you know, they're suffering. So then that just shows like happy joy, some short moment in time, right? So anyway, they actually still they have suffering there underneath. They have suffering, but that apparently, you know, showing is no suffering. That kind of, you know, we have temporarily like that. But in this way, they're talking about a permanent, right? Suffering is exist means if suffering is permanently inherently exist, then not possible this way. If suffering is temporary, yes, actually the person, you know, who has to get suffering, and then they get some, you know, party and joy temporarily, then they forget the suffering. Actually, that time they don't have suffering. That time is already gone suffering. They have happy that moment. They actually they cannot be together there. You know, cannot be together. Suffering and happiness, these two feelings cannot be together. Right? See, sun and darkness cannot be together. But actually, lots of like we think like that, you know, lots of like we think, oh, some guys, people suffering that do some party enjoy, and then they show smile and lots of like they forget the suffering. So, but me actually reality, this time is like the positive feeling anyway, get rid of suffering. Negative feeling comes, get rid of the positive feeling. Here is Mayamika again, give the this question again for them. But simply because it is like the lacks the defining characteristic of a feeling, namely experience. How can something which is not of the nature of experience be a feeling? So then, if you don't really fear any suffering, then Shantideva says, how can you say that is a suffering? It's there, you know, no suffering there. Why you say suffering is there? So this other group says, see, suffering is there. The reason is happiness, joy is comes, but the suffering is go to underneath. Yeah, but then Shantideva said, no, when the joy comes, you don't have suffering, then why you say you are suffering? Suffering is not exist there. So your consciousness not receive any suffering. Then why you say you get suffering, you know? So that's the Mayamika give it the, you know, answer. But simply see, because it is a lack the defining characteristic of a feeling. See, no suffering there, no feeling negativity there. Then namely experience, how can something which is not of the nature of experience be a feeling? So how you can say that is a feeling there. Feeling means you have something positive, negative, then you can say feeling is nothing in there, but then why you say it's still a feeling? So the main point Mayamika say negative feeling is cannot be underneath. You know, it's when positive feeling comes, no negative feeling there. So that means already changed. Negative feelings no permanently exist. Positive feeling also not exist there too, because some negative feeling comes, positive feeling is gone. So that means the both feeling as no exist. Then answer again, they're going to give answer again. Very similar, just answer is like same as the palace, the previous one. It is a feeling because there is an experience of very subtle pain. See, there's a very subtle level pain. Surely only the gross aspect of suffering is dispelled by the strong pleasure. So gross level suffering is gone, but subtle level suffering is still there. Then the nature of this subtle pain is a slight, vague feeling of happiness, distinct from the gross cessation of pleasure. So the main point they said we don't recognize because this subtle level negative feeling is so subtle and the positive feelings overcome to that. We don't fear, we don't recognize. Happiness distinct from the gross sensation of pleasure. So no, Mayamika said, no, that also cannot be. But this subtle experience cannot possibly be a form of pain. See, the subtle level negative sufferings cannot be there. Because you know, say it is a form of happiness. So you said no, it's happiness. No experience can be simultaneously pleasurable and painful. So Shantideva said, cannot be two there together. So you said when happiness, pleasure feelings become strong, then negative subtle level is there, but you say cannot fear that. But then Shantideva said, okay, maybe you have two feelings there. How can be two feelings one simultaneously? Consciousness received, not possible. You know, and also when happiness feeling overcome means like powerful, and then negative is not exist. Because these two feelings cannot be simultaneously together. You cannot receive this, joyful, pleasurable, and painful together. So then, if pain is not occurring in someone's mind because it is opposite is occurring, so that's okay. The pain is like very similar, just still going on. Pain is become very they don't fear that. Pain is they don't fear in someone's mind because it is opposite is occurring means like joyful feeling, positive pleasure feelings become very strong. Then to consider that has not occurred to be a feeling is surely, but that's why this suffering feeling is there, but we don't see, we don't fear, we don't recognize. What could only be called a mistaken conception. So then it's a negative feeling is at that time is not there. Then Shantideva said, how can you say still have that suffering feeling? Because the suffering is not there. He said, Shantideva said, suffering feeling is not there. Just say suffering is not there. When positive feeling is strong, you have to say no suffering. So you don't have to still try to proving negative feeling is still there. Cannot be two feelings come together. Surely what could only be called a mistaken conception. So that's he said, it's mistaken conception, wrong thinking. So therefore, as a remedy for such mistaken conceptions, one should cultivate the wisdom which analyze the known true existence of all phenomena. So now Shantideva said, this who think about the positive feeling, negative, the feeling is a permanent, inherently exist. So that is a mistaken conceptual. That is not true. So the feeling is not permanent exist. Therefore, as a remedy for such mistaken conception, one should cultivate the wisdom which analyze the non-true existing of all phenomena. So we analyze like non-true existing all these phenomena, then you recognize the feeling is not permanent exist. The state of absorption that arises from the field of what is examined by this mind is the nourishment that sustain the yogi's understanding of the way things exist. So if you meditate, practicing this analytically, so then result is become you free from this like feeling, feeling like permanent feeling. You are free from that feeling. You are not stuck with the positive and negative feeling. And that kind of yogi who analyze, who understanding this analytical meditation. So analytical meditation is the same as the state of absorption that arises from the fields of what is examined. See, the state of absorption means we rest a mind, peaceful mind, happy, where does that come from? That come from is like the first is example is the same as examining, analytical meditation. By this mind is the nourishment. So then who use this analytical meditation? So that person is by this mind is the nourishment that substance the yogi's understanding, then yogi who understanding of the way things exist. So they're really understanding what is the correct, where things exist. Then there no follows a refutation of the non-true existing of a contract, the cause of feeling. So then that who understanding, feeling is no exist. Then that yogis, have realized because the fruition of the non-true existing of a contact, the cause of feeling, in the first three stanza, the argument is directed against those who exert partless atomic particles. So then also you can see, next is going to more analyze the analytical meditation for follow the cause. Where is this feeling is come from? The analytical checking in the cause. So actually the first three stanzas like 90 verses 93, verses 95, they already talked already. Actually, this cause is not exist. Because we are not exist, then who's going to feeling? Feeling is cannot be exist. Right? So this we already talked analytically. The body is a person, person is identiless, selflessness. So person is identiless and selflessness. Then who going to get the feeling? Who has feeling this? So Shantideva said we already talked actually. In the first three stanzas, like 93, 95, the argument is directed against those who exert partless atomic particles. So no Yaminka. Second here, the change the point, that just we talk about 88 to 92, 88 to 92, 92 that verses. Or is talking about feeling is not permanent exist. So now here is the cause also not exist. Cause, where is the feeling is come from? Feeling must have to have a cause. So they're using the logic, investigating the cause. So feeling is a result, right? feeling is a result. Okay, so we already talked the feeling result is not exist permanently inherently. It is a delusion. So you realize that use intellectually and then you get truly happiness. So the yogis, so that's that section. No, is going to investigate more for the cause. Where is the feeling is come from? If there were space between the sense faculties, such as the eyes and the objects, such as visual forms, how could the two ever meet? So now here is this feeling is arises from this the senses faculties and then object and consciousness. So this three comes together and then feeling is arising usually. So now Shantideva he talking about he going to talk with actually faculties not exist. Consciousness is not exist. Object is not exist. Then where is the result of feeling? So feeling is come from these three of them, senses faculties and object, then your consciousness. So here, so the point is like these three is together. That who says like feeling is a permanent exist. There's like okay faculties and object consciousness meet together. The meet together, then feeling is arise. So Shantideva said they cannot meet together. These three cannot meet together. How can they meet together? That is he going to use logically. Relatively, yes, we say we can faculties and object and consciousness meet together, but logically cannot meet together. That's also delusion. Think about it, like when we have a dream, how can this object and faculties, senses faculties, and then consciousness meet together? Actually, this three of them not exist. See, when you wake up, see, object is actually not there. And then your faculty is not there. Senses faculty is not there. Consciousness is not there. How can they meet together? So when you wake up, that's see all the three of them is delusion, not exist. So then think about this. In the dream, we meet together this senses faculty, object, and consciousness. We have feeling in the dream. When you wake up, no feeling, no senses faculties, no consciousness, no object there. Three of this all is cause also no exist, result also no exist. So here, if there were space between the senses faculties, such as the eye, and eye, such as eyes means like the eye consciousness, right? Air, the senses of faculty, air senses faculties as the air, and the senses faculty as the nose. So that's we have to follow all these five faculties. Actually, we can say six faculties or five anyway. So this of them all together, eyes and the objects. Then object also have a song, smell, and the visual object, and then taste, senses. So that kind of see all the objects, such as visual forms, like how could the two ever meet? Okay, here is right now is like this two is investigated first. Senses faculties and the object, how can they meet together? How could the two ever meet? There would be like a mountain in the east and a mountain in the west. Their hockey meet together. Their meet means like touch or not touched, between. Okay, there's a cannot touch because this focus, senses focus and object cannot touch, right? So they say, okay, no touch. Then Shantideva say, okay, no touch. Then there would be like a mountain in the east and a mountain in the west. So one is like, see, senses focus is a mountain, same as the east. Object is the same as a mountain in the west. So then they have a big distinction each other, right? Because it's like they have a between. So okay, so mountain in the east and the mountain in the west. But if there were no space at all, see, then that how can like meet together? See, the two mountains like east and west, then there can be so many different things inside there because it's a space between, cannot meet. Yeah, that is incorrect. There's a no between. So, but if there were no space at all, senses focus and object, visual form or anything object, no any space between, it become touch at all, then sense they would become one unit. So that means like then you don't have, Shantideva says, you don't have senses focus and object because that touch means one already, one unit. What could meet what? Then what are you going to meet? You know, one who can meet another. So like if one person who can meet another one. So your senses focus and your objects are become one. So how can say you can meet there? What could meet what? There would be no matter and nothing to be meet with. Furthermore, so still more informations. The partless atomic particles of the sense faculty and the partless atomic particle of an object cannot meet on all sides because they cannot enter into one another. See? Also, no, Shantideva is going to go more subtle level. See, we're talking about like senses faculties, like see partless atomic particle. Object also partless object, you know, the partless atomic particle of the sense faculty and the partless atomic particle of the object cannot meet on all sides because partless, right? Partless means cannot touch, cannot meet on all sides because they cannot enter into one another. They cannot into another and together. Even there can be joined together, but then there still is partless particle. So no any going to change. You know, it's a like partless particle first. They don't have a side. That they don't have four directions. No four directions. If joined together means like you must have to have directions. So like, you know, east side to join together, then the east side join together, but then they have west and other directions. Must be other four directions, no attached part. But then, you know, that no directions. If you have a touch part, you have another side, but then your part is partless particle means no directions. So no directions cannot be touched. If still you have a direction, then that cannot be partless particle. Partless particle means no any directions. No directions means like no east, no west, no north, no south there. So some is joined together means like two part or particle joined together. Example, see this touch together means this one has no partless particle, this one no partless particle, then they can join together, touch. Here you are. But partless particle means they don't have the side of the like each side cannot join together, because if you join, then join and no join part. So you have already 4 partless particles again. There's no one there, permanent. So that's why it cannot join together. Okay, so they cannot merge into one another. Anyway, they cannot to merge into another one. This is so because atomic particles have no space inside and are completely equal in size. Were they to meet, so they were all going to meet together. They would have to do so in this way, because without one partless atomic particle entering into another, there could be no mixing of the two. And without this mixing, there could not possibly be any meeting on all sides. So if they don't touch, they cannot be joined together. If they join together, and then they cannot still like just like thousands of partless particles join into the one particle, is all dissolved to there. They cannot create bigger and bigger, because cannot create a particle, means like no directions. So permanently nothing like that exists inherently. And then verses 95. But how could it be logically for those who accept the existing of a partless atomic particle to say that it is meet on one particle side by another partless atom? So the how can meet there together? Not possible. The Shantideva said, how can meet? Ask question. If that were the case, the partless atomic particle would have one part which is meet with and another part which is not meet at all. See, if they can join, but then see they also have become side, like touch part, not touch part. Then cannot be partless particle. Hence, it would no longer be partless. See, cannot be partless particle. But if you ever see in atomic particle that has no parts but can still be met with, please would you show it to us? Then Shantideva said, please show us like that, partless particle touch to another partless particle. Cannot be like that anything object. If you have something like that, please show me us. It also follows that again, so again means another, that say, oh, this partless particle cannot join together, but the consciousness have that, consciousness, mind helping and join together. So that's also Shantideva said, not possible. So no, this verses 93, 94, 95. So that verses is talk about this senses faculties and also objects. Faculties and objects cannot meet together. Also, these faculties cannot create themselves. Faculty also not exist. And object also not exist, because object is like investigate. it's become go to partless particle. Partless particle cannot join together. So that means partless particle also actually not exist. So next is they say, oh no, they have a mind helping them join together. So that's also Shantideva said, not possible. It is illogical to meet consciousness because it is not physical. Something physical cannot possibly meet something non-physical. So Shantideva said, yeah, that's also incorrect. Mind is no physical object. Physical object and non-physical object, how can meet together? He said, not possible that. Incorrect. Yeah. Objection. Although there is no physical meeting, there does exist a mere aggregation of the sense faculty, the object and the consciousness to produce the effect of a cognition. So they said the main point is they all come together, you know. The usually like many comes together and then there's an exist. So although there is no physical meeting, there's no physically like say permanently like that a meeting, but there does exist just a mere aggregation of the sense faculty. So all this faculty comes together, the object, then object is there, and the consciousness. Three of them come together, then produce the effect of cognition. Means the feeling is produced, become. Subject, object, faculty all comes together, then the have feeling, all this come together. So that means like all collecting together, they have a power. But Shantideva said this, all this comes together means the not permanent, it's all impermanent. You know, permanent cannot become together. So answer, if in this way, okay, Shantideva say, okay, if you that way, contact, you say meet together, the cause for feeling is not truly existent. Then feeling is not truly exist. From what do truly existing feelings? How can be feelings truly exist? The effect arise. Thus, what is the purpose of trying oneself out for the sake of obtaining pleasurable feelings, and likewise, whose mind could be caused any harm by what painful feelings? Both the pleasure which is obtained and the pain which harms have no true existence. So Shantideva said, main point he said here, answer is, this is forget this one. This is invalid because just as we analyzed before, in aggregation is not found to be a truly existing things. So it's he said, see, verses 53 also talk about the five aggregates also not exist because it's you know, compounded together, many together. So that's the reason no exist. So Shantideva say, okay, so no actually feeling also not permanently exist. The reason is cause is not inherently permanently exist because it's all compound of phenomena. So if in this way, contact means not attached together. You know, this consciousness, faculties, senses, faculties, object cannot meet together. If this in this way contact, the cause for, then that's the reason the cause the cause for feeling is not truly existing. Feeling is not truly exist. From what do truly existing feelings? Then where is it that feeling is truly existed? The effect arise. It's no any reasons to have no actually meet together. These three of them, they no cause, no result there. Thus, what is the purpose of trying oneself out for the sake of obtaining pleasurable feelings? So then why you so Shantideva said, why you try to try to like approving obtaining pleasure feeling? Why you try to do that? Why is the reason you doing that? Because see, that's what is the purpose of trying oneself out for the sake of obtaining pleasurable feelings. Why you try that? And likewise, whose mind could be caused any harm by what painful feelings? Both the pleasure which is obtained and the pain which harm have not truly exist. Then see the negative feeling. See, and likewise, those mind could be caused any harm by what painful feelings. What is like this negative feeling harm to our mind? See, whose mind could be caused any harm by what painful feelings? So we realize the feeling is not exist. Then why feeling harm to our mind? Yeah. And both the pleasure which is obtained, the pain which harms have not true existence. Then why the pleasure feeling, why we attach to that? Nothing going to benefit us. And these two feelings, no any get benefit for us because feeling is not exist. So we cannot be attached to the positive feeling. We cannot be hatred to the negative feeling. This both feeling not going to affect our mind because the feeling is not exist. Why feeling is not exist? The cause also not exist. They how can be they have a result. Yeah. So no, that part is already we analyze the cause of the feeling. So no analyze the result of the feeling. Result of feeling is 1898. When there is no truly existent identity of the person that fears and not truly existing feeling either. So the person, ourself is not exist. Then person is not exist. How can they have feeling? So we are selflessness of a person, right? Selflessness of a person. Identityless. Then how can we have feeling? There is no truly existing identity of the person. See, person is not exist. That fears and not truly exist feelings either. Having seen this situation, then we know that the feeling is not exist. Why do I not turn away the craving to obtain pleasure and to be separated from pain? Then we see this, having seen this situation, we know that ourself is not exist. Then if we are not exist, then how can be we have my feeling? My is not exist, then you don't have my feeling, right? You don't exist, then how you can say my hand? So we don't exist. The feeling is not exist. This situation, Why do I not turn away? Means why we not turn away the craving to obtain pleasure? Why we attach to the pleasure things? And to be separate from pain. Why we try to free from painful? Because pain, pleasure, both are not exist. So person is not exist. Then how you can have a happy and how you can have a sad? Then why you try to free from sad? Why you try to get into pleasure? Because you not exist, right? Person is not exist. So the main point Shantideva said, we have to wake up, get rid of this delusion, feeling happy and painful suffering. The both are not exist. The reason is the deluded person is not exist. Separate from pain, sense the sense object is object that. So then see, this is where we have to meditate. I see and touch appear to me, but have no true existence. So I see and touch appear to be means like touch, hearing the sound, and the senses, like senses, body's senses, and smell all this object. Whatever like appear to me, but have no true existence. There nothing is true exist. Their nature is like a dream and illusion. So this all we see our mind is you delusional. We have this feeling, right? Follow the feeling. So you have when you eat food, so see that is a test. It's good, delicious, and not good one, right? No good, delicious, yeah. Then when you hear the songs, pleasure songs, unpleasure songs, and you see forms like pleasure form, beautiful and ugly, right? And then we have smell like that. It's good smell and bad smell. So that's all we follow. Usually this our consciousness follow this when this focus and object comes together, but that is Shantideva said, actually we are deluded. We are deluded because these objects now exist, and then this senses focus not exist, consciousness is not exist, and ourself is not exist. Then the result feeling also not exist. So we are good dreaming in the world right now. Yeah, so we have to recognize this all is like a dream and illusion. Therefore, the subjective feelings of them can also have no true existence. See, subject is no true existence. Feelings are not seen or experienced by the mind, which arise simultaneously with them because since they are produced simultaneously, casually, unrelated to it. So, see, Shantideva said this all is like same is dream and illusion. So therefore, see the subjective feelings of them. So subject is like feeling, mind is like feeling is all this different kind of feeling is a subjective feelings. Minds, feelings of them can also have no true existing. The feeling is not true existing. Feeling are not seen or experienced by the mind. So feelings experienced by our mind, which arise simultaneously. So your mind and the feeling comes together, simultaneously. Mind seeing the feeling, mind is simultaneously together. So with them, because, since they are produced simultaneously with it, they're produced simultaneously with it, there would be causally unrelated to it. There cannot be cause and result. So this is like, same logic is like, we talk about the mind and emotion. Mind and emotion is simultaneously together. Then mind didn't produce emotion. Emotion is not dependent mind because it is simultaneously together. Simultaneously together means like, right now we are together, let's say I and you. So it's different, separate. So you didn't produce me, I didn't produce you. So then Shantideva says, your mind, your feeling, not related to anything because they are simultaneously together. Okay, so if they're simultaneously together, then mind doesn't benefit anything for feeling. Feeling doesn't affect anything our mind. They are not related to anything each other. That means feeling is not exist. So feeling, so main point is that Shantideva said this feeling is not permanent. Feeling is like, if you say feeling is permanent, okay, so present feeling is permanent, or past feeling is permanent, or future feeling is permanent. Present feeling is if the permanent, present feeling, so then present mind, present feeling is simultaneously together. This feeling didn't affect anything your mind because your feeling and your mind simultaneously together, and so your mind didn't produce your feeling didn't produce your mind. They don't have depending each other. They are not unrelated anything unrelated to it, your feeling and your mind, even they come simultaneously. So that means present feeling cannot be exist. Present feeling no exist. Then same is like past feeling no exist, future feeling is no exist. Likewise, previous feelings, see, this is past feeling. And the later feelings can be remembered. So past feelings just you remember, it's no exist, that too. Remembered and wish for, but they cannot truly be existing by the mind. So the past feeling is not possible to be with your mind. And then that feeling is not exist. Past is emptiness. Because they have either ceased or are yet to be produced. So anyway, okay. So they're talking about two things. Feelings, previous feelings, and the latter means like future feelings. Yeah, previous feeling and future feeling. So can be remedied. Is remedied. It's a past. Is like you can be remembered. I think remembered. Just you remember past feeling is not exist, and future feeling is wished for, but they cannot actually be experienced by the mind. So these two feelings cannot be experienced by mind because one is already gone, it's emptiness. One is not yet, it's emptiness. So then present feeling cannot be related to the mind, become present feelings are related to the mind. Past, present, future feeling, there are three of them not exist. Because they have either ceased or are yet to be produced. See, one is like already gone, one is like not yet produced. Past is already gone, future is not yet produced, the feelings. they cannot experience themselves because it's like no exist. And if one's own mind, if the past, present, and the future cannot experience them, so your mind also cannot experience, your past mind cannot experience present feeling, your future mind cannot experience your mind feeling, present mind cannot get experience your feeling. Cannot experience them, nothing else can be experienced them either. So there's a feeling, past feeling, present feeling, future feeling is not related to your mind. Okay, your mind also past mind, present mind, future mind is nothing related to your feeling. They're always unrelated to each other. Then you just Shantideva say, get rid of feeling, don't attach to the feeling. Feeling is nothing important for you. So your mind needs to freedom. You know, is feeling or is delusion, Feeling is not permanently there. So that's the reason you can liberate. If the feeling is permanent, you never ever can get liberation. Because you have a positive feeling, you attach to that. Negative feeling, you hatred to that, then you create a karma. So you always stuck that feelings. So Shantideva said, these feelings is like just deluded, not there. That's why don't think about the feeling, just get rid of them. Your mind must be freedom. So therefore, no truly existing experiencer. So that means like person is like who going to experience the feeling, because person is not exist. So you say, oh, I have good feeling. Then I say, you are not exist. Who is going to get good feeling? See, therefore, no truly existing experience of feelings exist, and thus no truly existing feelings exist either. Then feeling also not there. So how can this addictless collection of aggregates be benefited by pleasurable feelings and harmed by painful ones? Then we don't have ourself exist. No I, no self there. So we are selflessness of a person, we didn't exist. So how can this addictlessness, we are not exist, collection of aggregates, see these are the collected aggregates, be then benefit by pleasurable? How can we get pleasure feeling benefit for us? Feelings and harm by painful ones. How can this painful feeling going to harm for us? So painful feeling never going to harm to you. Pleasure feeling never going to make you special anything, nothing going to benefit for you, because yourself is no exist, feeling is no exist. Then why that you attach to pleasure feeling, why you hatred to the negative feeling? These feelings are never going to benefit you, nor going to harm you. So that means like we have to free from attachment and aversion to feelings. It cannot, because beneficial and harmful feelings do not truly exist. They are not exist. Then we don't have to think about this feeling is going to benefit us and or going to harm for us. Feeling itself is not exist. Okay, so that's the part is the mindful feeling meditation, the close placement of mindfulness on the feelings meditation. So mindful feeling meditation, see, is very important part if we want to control our own mind. Because we always follow the feeling, you know. Feeling control us. Feeling control us. The why feeling can control us because we didn't recognize the feeling is not exist. So then that's the reason we think ourself is exist. We have self, and then we think this feeling is also exist. That feeling control us. So long as feeling control us, we don't have our own power. You know, all the time, emotions control us. 100% of emotion control us. So whatever you make decisions yourself, or is emotions making decisions, not your wisdom making anything decisions there. So then whatever you say, I think, I want, that's all is your feeling, is emotion, your thoughts, you know, follow the thoughts, emotions. That's why see we talk about the no dualistic. So no dualistic is how can you, like we understand it. We always follow this emotion and then we make decisions. Or it's like whatever you think, oh yeah, no dualistic is like that's right. You ask question, I give answer. Both are actually incorrect because your feeling ask question, my feeling give answer. The actually no dualistic means that the feeling is not exist there. So must be free from that state. Then you have to recognize, right? Otherwise, so just like you ask question about no dualistic, is follow your feeling, conceptual. And I give answer also my feeling, my thoughts, my conceptual thoughts. So see, that is the we stuck the reason in the you know like we don't understanding really truth, absolute truth, you know, emptiness. So no, you know, see, feeling is no exist. So that also helps because the feeling is no exist, ourself is no exist. Then you really 100% think about the feeling is no exist, ourself is no exist. Then you ask question is more better, right? So you're thinking about yourself is exist, feeling is exist. Then dualistically ask question, and I also give answer is dualistically, but it's no dual is we bring into the dualistic our view. So Buddha's realization is we bring our, you know, our conceptual mind, we making decisions. Okay, so like that kind, we are crazy, right? So anyway, this part of feeling meditation is a very important section, but it's hard to do this way. But we meditate to see mindful feeling meditation is gross level first. So that's really helpful. Mindful feeling gross level, this Theravada tradition. So Theravada tradition is usually in Western country that talk about mindfulness is always like Theravada tradition. They never even go into Mahayana level mindful meditation. It's more subtle level. Theravada tradition is more easy because we just, you know, watch our own feeling. So long as you have mindful awareness, you just watching. When feeling comes, you can load that feeling. You know, you can load the feeling. Long as you recognize feeling, then helps the feeling not control you. So Theravada tradition, meditative, mindful feeling meditation. When anger arises, you look to the anger, see the anger, or I have anger. That just look the anger and recognize anger, and then anger is object of meditation. Anger is become object of meditation. So the anger really not going to destroy you. So you can use anger as object of meditation. And so that is a good way, like, Theravada tradition is, especially when we have this emotion arise. So you use this feeling, mindful feeling meditation. You recognize your emotions, your feelings. You recognize. Then also you recognize what you're doing. What kind of feeling you have. So that helps. Then your intention, because like, oh, I have good intention, or I have bad intention. That's also feeling, right? So you recognize that feeling, mindful feeling meditation. So then you meditate more. Theravada tradition helps you become this emotion not control you, but still emotions are there, but they're not really going to control you. Mahayana meditation, not emotion only control us. We get rid of emotion. So that is the difference level. But the go deeper, of course, get rid of emotions more harder than just emotion not control us. So Mahayana meditation is then you see the emotion arise. You love to analyze emotion. Analyze emotion is hard. Someone's like mine don't have ability to meditate. How can analyze emotion? Not possible. So you just use the emotions object of meditation, not analyze, it's okay. But analyze emotions more harder. If you can analyze your emotion itself is not exist. It is emptiness, it is rootless, it is groundless. See, then that means like your emotion is transformed to the wisdom. So that is the Mahamudra meditation. Emotion is taken into the path. So that's all based on this teaching. See, now you're maybe understanding, like, see, the Mayamika teaching and the Mahamudra means. Mahamudra is only go to result. Mayamika is like going into more deeper and take, all the, like analytical means like we destroying first. So if you're going to build a house, you have a very beautiful place. If you're going to build a house, you have to dig the, earth first, right? And you have to dig in and you have to destroy first and then create a house, right? So like that kind, this Mahayana teaching, analyze into.
Khenpo, I'm sorry to interrupt. You're just starting to break up a little bit. You may need to switch.
Okay, so anyway, Mahayana is more details and, and looking into the everything analytically. Then you recognize the result. Going into meditate, right? Mahamudra means just go into meditate. But before in the meditation, you using all the analytically what are you going to do, you understanding, approving, that is a Mayamika. Okay, so now we today leave here. And tomorrow we don't have a class because I have meetings tomorrow early. We have a practice tomorrow morning, same as today. So anyway, we don't have teaching tomorrow. So then next week, yes, we have following next week, continue. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So going to do the dedication.
And class still this evening, Khenpo, correct? Is that right?
Evening, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Tomorrow, so important meetings, I have skip that. I say I have a teaching, but they say no. You can teach all the time. Meetings once a year. Okay. So I'd say I like to teaching, not like the meetings, but no choice. So anyway, if that is that, and I'm going to do the prayer. Emma Om Zara Sanje Nawan Daye Da Yese Jo Tuje Chenpo Dang Yung De Semban Tejin Don Nam Lai Sanje Sansen Pa Min Kor Chi Ko Deche Ngom Zara Pa De Me Ba Ye Dewa Chin Ye Sa Ve Shen Gam Der Da Yen De Ne Sempi Chir Ma Tai Je Wa Yin Je Par Mai Chu Par Terre Chine Nante Jan Dong Yuan De Ge Da Ge Molan Da Ban De So Je San Je San Sen Dan Je Je Ken Min Dra Par Sin Je Lap De Sor Ti Ya Ta Pen Zan Je Ya Awa Bo De Na Ye So Ha San Jo Sem Jo Rinpo Je Ma Ji Pa Nam Ji Jo Ro Je Ji Pa Nyam Pa Me Pa Yang Gong Ni Gong Den Pe Wa Re Shu Sonam De Ye Tam Je Zi Pa Nye Tong Ne Nim Pe Da Na Pam Se Te Ji Ga Nam Je Ba Long Chu Pa Ye Si Pen So Le Jo Wa Re Shu Jambara Pave Chataran Chemba Tang Kenda Zambo De An De Yen De De Dai Kenje Jisa Da Lo Jen Gewan De Da Tam Je Ra De Ngo Shizai Kenze Kenchin Chi Je Je Dem De Ne La Wan Do Ji Gong Pa Rin Chen Par Che Tem Ba Sing De Bar Shi Zhou De Sang Gong Ben Zing Jor Je. Thank you, everyone.
Curtis, I see there's something behind you. Is that a stocking?
See you evening.
Thank you so much, Khenpo.
Bye.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you,
Good day,
Khenpo.
everyone.
Thank you.
Khenpo, it's a stocking.
Bye.
Bodhisattva Santa brought you a stocking.
I think he
Off,
laughed.
Khenpo.
He's gone.
Khenpo